Alright, dear cut and sew tribe, you are welcome to today's tutorial. So we're going to learn how to cut and sew this tiered dress. So it is 3 layers dress, as you can see. Because I don't want it to be too long, I'm going to make it a 2-part video. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to calculate it, how to cut it. So in the next tutorial, I'll be demonstrating how to sew it. I hope that is taken. So these are the required materials. I have my main fabric here. This is the African print I'll be using for this tutorial. It is 6 yards. But with this method we'll be using, I'm not sure we're going to consume all the 6 yards. So I have my 6 yards here separately. So this is the line I'll be using. Now this line is going to help us to really conserve our fabric. I'm going to show you when the time comes. So I have 3 yards of lining here. So this is my wadding. This wadding is going to help us to pad the upper part. Now if you look at the upper part of that dress very well, you will see that we have 2 types of Ankara fabric here. But because I could not lay my hand on any matching Ankara that will go for this, so I've decided to use this just to make that part to be different from the down part. So I'm going to use it for the upper part, just the front part alone anyway. So I have this leftover fabric that I'll be using. I have my matching zipper. I have 2 scissors, one for paper and one for fabric, my tape measure, matching thread and my marker. So let's just head straight to the drafting. I don't really want to take our time, so I have this detailed tutorial on how to draft basic body on this channel. Detail. I used to say it, there is no style you want to learn that you don't need basic body. Every beautiful style you see outside there, they all start with basic body. So you will do well to just check on that tutorial, very detailed and explicit. So now, but because this one is a bit different, like the neck width, you know, standardly our neck width is supposed to be 3, the width is supposed to be 3, and for the front the depth 3. But because of the vicious color on this dress, so the width of this pattern is just, I use 2.25. so you could use between 2.25 to 2.5. It depends on how fat the neck you are working with is, but for me 2.25 is just okay. So this is it. I use 2.25 here for the neck width. Can you see it? But the depth remains the same. The depth for the back is just 1 inch and the depth for the front is 3 inches. So please take note of that if you really want your vicious collar neckline to rest firmly on your neck. And here, as you can see, I have drawn out my dart leg. And another important thing that I want to call your attention to is that if you look at the picture of that dress very well, the cut starts under the bust. Do you get it? The cut does not start from the waistline. So here now, the length of this paper is just from my shoulder to the under bust. Do you get it now? From shoulder to the under bust. And here I just decided to remove 1 inch. I removed 1 inch from the shoulder to the under bust just to have that look at the back. So that 1 inch, I'm going to use it for my dart intake, bust dart. Do you get it now? Now for the waist of my, or the under bust circumference I'm working with is 35. So 35 into 4 is going to give us 9.25. So I have my 9.25 like so, and I'll do the same thing for the back, 9.25. Now I'm going to contour this under bust. I'll definitely contour it. So I'll be adding 1.5 to this, 1.5 as my dart intake. Do you get it now? So, and I will connect it to the upper part like so. Can you see it? Now, you know, I've added 1.5 inches to this. So that means on this dart line, I'll be taking 0.75 on both sides. You know, when you have 0.75 plus 0.75, it's going to give you 1.5. Do you get it? And I'll just go ahead and connect it to the bust points like so. Do you get it now? Now the difference between the front and the back length is 1 inch. I just remove 1 inch because I don't want the back to be that short. Do you get it now? So that 1 inch, I'm going to use it here like so, and I'll just draw it. This is bust dart. Do you get it now? So I have my bust dart like this, and you can just give it this sign so that by the time you want to cut it out, the side will not give. Now to the back, we are going to contour the center back, and I'll do that by using just 0.5. You know your back is not supposed to be straight like that, so this 0.5, you are going to draw your slant line. Can you see it? The way I'm just placing my tape, my ruler, just towards the neckline like this. Can you see? So I've contoured my back line like that, my CB. Now the next thing, from this point, now you can now go ahead and measure your weight. I've measured it the other time, but I'm going to remeasure it because of this. Now you are supposed to start from this point so that you not have shortage there. Do you get it now? So I have 9.25 to be the quarter of my waist. 9.25. So this is the 9.25. Now I'm going to add 1 inch dart intake to it. 1 inch for my back dart intake. 1 inch is okay. So I will just go ahead and connect like this. Can you see it? So just go ahead with that 1 inch. You are going to distribute it evenly now, half here and half on the other side. Do you get it now? Just go ahead and connect to the bust line like so. Do you get it now? So, and I can say our basic body is ready now. So the next thing I want to do is I want to draw my armhole princess dart for the front. So to do that, I will come to the mid armhole here. Do you get it now? So you can use your free hand if you are very sure of yourself, and if you have access to this, you can just go ahead and do this. Can you see it? So I will connect it to the bust points like this. Do you get it now? But you're not going to leave it like this. We are going to tighten the armhole. So I'll do that by just, I will tighten it by 1 inch. You can use between 0.75 to 1 inch. So this is me trying to get the shape. Do you get it now? So you don't want it to be too curvy. Okay, I think I have gotten what I'm looking for now. So I'll just go ahead and like this. Can you see it? So you know we tighten this by 1 inch. So you are going to return it back. It is very important you return it back here on this part. Why? Because by the time you want to join this line together so that you will not have shortage. So it is always good, whatever amount you use to tighten your armhole, return it back. If you use 0.75, use 0.75. At times I use 1.5. It depends on what you are working on. So here I am using 1 inch, and as you can see, I am returning that 1 inch back. So that means I'm going to redraw my armhole. Can you see it? This part, you're going to connect it to this part like this. Can you see it? So this is what you're going to have. I think this is how I'm going to be leaving it. You know, the reason why this underbust is not that obvious, the shape, is because the waistline stop on the underbust. Do you get it now? So by the time I close this dart, I close this dart, I close this dart, I am going to create room on the around the bust, and it's going to still contour my under bust. So this is what I have. I'll just go ahead and cut out my pattern. Now don't forget to close the bust that before you cut the side. It's very important. So this is it, and I'll cut. So this is the neck side. So I've cut this, and I'll just go ahead and cut this. So if you like, you can make the back also princess that if you like. That one is by choice. So this is what we have. Our pattern is set. I'm going to put this aside now, and we're going to work on the down part. Now, okay, for the down part, we need to do our calculation very well. Like I promised, I want to teach you very easy way to manage your fabric so that you don't waste it. Now, you know, we are taking care of the upper part. This is going to be the upper part for both the front and the back. So we are left with the down part, and I'm going to do a rough sketch here. So let's assume this is our down part. Just pardon my drawing. So I have it like this. What is left for the down part? Now you're going to take away the upper part from the down part. Whatever your gown length is, just take away the upper part. In my own case, the upper part is 16 inches. I'm going to take away 16 from 40, the full gown length I'm working with. Shoulder to knee is 40. So if I take away 16 from 40, I'll be left with 24. Now, so let's assume this is the 24 inches, which is the down part. But you know, it is not single flare, it is 3 tiers, 3 layers. I'm going to divide 24 into 3. So if you calculate it, 24 divided by 3 is going to give you 8 inches. So that means the first layer from the underbust to the end of the first layer is going to be 8 inches. So let's assume this is the first 8 inches. Now from this part, from this 8 inches, you are going to measure another 8 inches. So this is going to be for the second layer, and from the second layer to the end, that's going to be another 8 inches. Do you get it now? So all together, if you calculate it, it's going to give us 24. So you are going to use your own accurate measurements, don't forget. Now another thing we are going to calculate before we proceed to cutting it on our fabric is the circumference. You know, we have calculated the length. Now we are going to calculate the circumference. In my own case, my underbust circumference is 35. Whatever yours is, just note it. Now if you look at this gown very well, it is I don't want to use full circle because it will be too voluminous. I don't want that, so I'm going to use 180-degree flare, and that is going to be half circle. And you know, the formula for finding the half circle, the radius, is going to be 3.14. So if you are using full circle, assuming you want to use full circle for your own, which I don't really advise because it is going to be too big, but that one is a matter of your choice. Do you get it now? So if you are using full circle, you can use 6.28. Do you get it now? So but for me now, I'll be dividing 35 by 3.14. So if I divide 35 by 3.14, it's going to give me 11.14 thereabout. So this is going to be the radius, and this is going to be the length. Now going to our fabric now, this is the first thing you want to do, the longest, which is going to be 24. I'm going to cut it on my lining. Let me just put these ones aside so that you can see what we are working on very well. I'm going to cut it on the lining, and like I said I'm going to cut just 180-degree flare. So to cut your 180-degree flare, I hope you know how to fold your fabric. So this is it. This is me trying to fold my fabric into 2 like this. I have it folded into 2 like this, but I'm not going to leave it like that. I will still refold so that I will have it folded into 4. So you are going to fold your fabric into 4 like this. I hope you can see it. So I have it folded into 4 like this, And to get my the length, you know, the length I'm working with is 24. I need to be sure if this length will be okay, and if the length is not long enough, that means I'm going to refold. I hope you can see what we are working on. Let me adjust my camera a bit. So I'm going to measure to be sure it will be up to 24, plus, you know, the radius is going to be 11.1. Do you get it now? So I will 11.1 plus 24, that's going to give me like 35 inches. So I have it like this. Can you see it? I even have more than that. So now on this pointed part, I will measure my 11.12. So let me just approximate it to 11.5. So I have my 11.5 like this. Do you get it? And I'm going to measure it across 11.5. So you want to connect it like this, and this is going to be the radius of your flare. So from this 11.5, you just go ahead and measure your 24 inches. So that 24 inches, because this is the inner part, and I'm still going to cut the other the down part, I will not add any seam allowance to this because I will still cut it later. You will understand when I am cutting it. So I'll just measure the 24 inches across. So this is my 24 inches I am trying to measure. So go ahead and measure the 24, whatever your own is. You know, this is my own measurement. So I'll just go ahead and measure the 24. So I will connect it together like this. So this is my 24. Make sure you have it arranged very well under. So I have it like this, and this is ready for the down part. I just want to check if this is okay. So I'll go ahead and cut out this part now. So now this is what we have. This is going to serve as the underlaying. Now this is a trick. This is what will happen. So you know, this is not going to be part of our fabric. It is just like underlaying. Now you know, the down part, we have divided everything into 8. So from the down part now, I am supposed to measure 8 inches from the down part for the Ankara that I will attach. But then I want it to look as if I use Ankara all through. So I am not going to remove that exact 8 inches. I am going to let this Ankara, I will let it go in a bit. So instead of me measuring the 8 inches, which is supposed to be the actual length, I am going to measure 11 inches. So that means the down part is going to go in by 3 inches. Please don't let it be less than 2 inches, because if the breeze should blow and the flare opens up, so that the lining will not be showing too much. So I'm going to use 11. So this 11, I will cut it across 11 inches like this. Can you see it? So I'll just cut it across. Now like this. This down part, this is going to be the down part. So this is going to be the third layer. So I'll just cut out this part like this. Do you get it now? So this is going to be the third layer. So I can just put it aside. And we're going to work on this part. Now this is what you will do. For the first layer, I'm going to cut it as full circle. I really want to cut it as full circle because that part is small, and I want it to have that wavy effect. So I'm going to fold my fabric and cut the full circle, which is going to be 360 degrees. I told you if you are using 360, just use whatever your circumference is, divide by 6.28. So that is what I'm going to do now. This video is really getting longer than I expected. So I'll just cut the full circle for the first layer, and I'll show you the next thing to do. So this is it. I've cut the first layer. You know, I said I will make it full circle. So this is my first layer. Okay, now coming to the second layer, we are still going to work on this. You know, this is going to be inside your dress. So the first layer, this is how the first layer will look like. Can you see it? This is how I'm going to attach it on this lining. So it will be together like this. Now for us to place the second layer, you know, the second layer is supposed to be 8 inches as well, but you are going to add 3 inches. You know, I added 3 inches to that part so that the Ankara will, so that the lining will not be showing. So instead of me measuring 8 inches for the first layer here, I will just use 5 inches. You need to pay close attention here so that you get what I'm trying to say. So this is 5 inches. So we assume this 5 inches is for the first layer. So where the 5 inches end is where the second layer will start. I hope you understand. So this is the 5 inches. I will mark it across like this. So, and I'm going to measure the circumference of this place like this. I'll just go ahead and measure the circumference. So whatever I have here is what I'm going to use to cut. So I have 27. Do you get it now? 27 into 2, 27 times 2 is going to give us 54. So the circumference of the second layer is going to be 54. So I can put this one aside now, and this one. So I'll bring up my Ankara again. So I'm going to fold it like so. 54 is what I am looking for. So I'm going to fold it triangularly again into 4 places. Now because this is going to be 180, it's only the first layer that I will make 360 degree. Do you get it now? So this is what we have after folding it into 4. Can you see it? Now I'll still bring up this so that you understand my point very well. I have cut the first layer, which is I added 1 inch to it to make it 9 inches. But you know, I went up by 3 inches here so that for the second layer, and I'm talking about the second layer, so that by the time this first layer open up like this, it will the down part will be showing Ankara. So that means, you know, originally the length of the second layer is supposed to be 8 inches, but because I don't want lining to be showing on that, I added 3 inches to it, and that's going to give it 11 inches. So that means the length of the second layer is going to be 11 inches plus that one that will go inside. Do you get it now? You need to do it like this so that your work will be very neat. And you know, the circumference that we measure, by the time I cut the lining, this part, you know, this part now is 27. Do you get it? If you measure it, it's 27. So that 27 times 2 is going to give us 54. So the 54 I will divide by 3.14. So if I divide this, I will get like 18 inches or thereabout. But I want to add excess to the circumference so that I can pleat it a bit. So I will just use 20 inches here. Do you get my point now? I'll just go on 20 inches. Now the reason why I always advise that you cut all your flare like this before cutting the upper bodies is that all these pieces we're going to cut from your flare is what you will use for the upper bodies. It's very, very important. So many people don't know how to do it like this. So now this is our circumference here. So I'll just cross check. All right, I have more than enough. So from here now, I'm going to measure my 11 inches. Can you see it? And I will measure it across. I hope you know the reason why we are using 11 inches, so that the lining will not be showing under this dress. So that is why we are using 11 inches. The original length was 8 inches. Do you get it now? So I have it like this, and I will just go ahead and cut. This video is getting longer. Now for the third layer, that one is very simple. Since we already have it, this is what you are going to use to cut your third layer. you know, I've added 3 inches to this length as well. The 3 inches, that is why we have it as 11 inches. So this one, you will just replicate it the exact, fold your ankara into 4 and just place it like this, and you cut. You can add ½ inch for your seam allowance to fold the hem. So I'm going to cut it now. I'll cut the third one too, and I'll just show us how to transfer our pattern to the fabric. So all these pieces is what I will use to cut my upper bodies. I'll just transfer my pattern on the fabric. So I have this part. Can you see it? So now for the back, I'm going to cut the back pieces first. So I will cut the back pieces first because it's the biggest of all this. So I'm trying to arrange it. I'm going to add 1 inch to the zipper allowance. I will add ½ inch all through here like this. Do you get it? And this side part, I'm going to add 2 inches. So let me do that and I'll show you the next thing to do. So this is it. I've cut it out. 1 inch for zipper allowance, ½ inch here, and 2 inches for this side. So this is for the back. I've gone ahead to use the fabric to cut the lining. So I have 2 pieces of lining and 2 pieces for the back. So I can just proceed and cut the front. So I am marking it so that I will know the wrong side. This here, I will bring it here now. I want to check if it can. So this cannot work here. I will bring in this here. So I'll just go ahead and to this side I will add ½ inch, to the down part ½ inch, this side ½ inch, and this side is going to be 2 inches. And I'll show you the next thing to do. So I've transferred the front to the fabric. So this is what I did. I just added ½ inch all through, shoulder, neck, side, and down. And I'm gonna ahead to cut the net too. So basically all our pattern is set now. This is complete front. I've gone ahead to cut my wording. This is what I'm going to use to pad it. Okay, we have come to the end of this part 1, the cutting tutorial. So in the next tutorial, I'm going to show us how we can join all these pieces together to form our beautiful dress. So if you find this tutorial helpful, kindly give us thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and do well to turn on the bell notification so that you'll be notified anytime I upload new video. I'll see you in the part 2. Bye.